Hi, my lesson plan today will be over Chapter 4, which is about student diversity. The content that I'm using today will be how does socioeconomic status, ethnicity, and race affect students' learning school experience. The audience is going to be a mixed audience, mixed races, and mixed ethnicities. I'm sorry, but also what'll happen in the video is we'll have a mixture of boys and girls as well. The age group will be 13 and 14-year-olds. Basically, what our objective is we'll perform a social project that shows how socioeconomic status, ethnicity, and race affect student school experience and lives outside of school. After the social experiment is completed, we'll have a discussion about how the differences can affect everyone individually as well as a group. On the lesson, what we'll do is we'll first discuss what socioeconomic status is. Um, with socioeconomic status is just basically, teaching them that everybody's not from the same place. Everybody does not have the same upbringing. Everybody does not have the same amount of money. So it's very important to educate the students about that. And then the next part will be basically um, how does that affect different races, different ethnicities, different social backgrounds, all of these things. How does this all tie in for the students? And that's the fun part of it all is trying to make it relatable, but also keep it to where it doesn't disrespect anybody, it doesn't offend anybody. What I usually tend to do in those points at that point in time is I usually tell my story because I'm not from the normal socio-economic background. I'm from the lower class and had to work my way up to where I am now. So it definitely it allows the students to one get to know me personally, and it makes me more personable, and which it helps the students open up, and then it also makes it easier for the students to be honest about it without feeling embarrassed. And then what I'll do is I have a video, and I put the link in the lesson plan for the video. Basically, that video is going to is going to show the experiment that we're going to be doing. Basically, it's an experiment about showing that life isn't the same for everyone. There's going to be a series of questions that are going to be done, and basically, with those questions, they'll be completing an experiment just to give the students an example of kind of what we're going to do. Although ours will be slightly different because we'll have steps forward, steps backwards pertaining to what's going on in that video. And I'll always give them a disclaimer: hey, do not be embarrassed, because you can always change your circumstances. Everybody's circumstances isn't fair, and you just have to educate the kids on that, and just tell them don't take it personal. Some of the questions. So what we'll do after we watch the video, I'll take them down to a gym or a football field somewhere on campus where we can have a starting point evenly for everyone. Get everybody on a straight line where we're all starting at the same spot, and then I'll go down with a series of questions. My questions are basically my statements. I'm sorry. Take two steps forward if you live with both parents. Take two steps backwards if you live with only one parent or other family member outside of your mom or dad. Excuse me. Take two steps forward if both parents went to college and graduated. Take two steps backward if your parents never went to college or to trade school. Take two steps forward if both parents are employed. Take two steps backwards if you didn't grow up with a father figure in your home. Take two steps forward if you ever had access to free tutors outside of school. Take two steps backward if you ever had to worry about where your next meal was coming from. Take two steps forward if both of your parents have their own vehicle. Take two steps backward if you ever had to help your parent with bills or watching younger siblings. Basically, by the end of that, what's going to happen is there's going to be a big disparity in the room. Based on their personal experiences, the students are being honest, of course, and what that'll do is that leads us into the assessment of it all is I'm going to pair students that are on opposite ends of the spectrum to get to know one another and understand each other's story, to let each other know that, hey, everybody's story isn't the same, but we all have the same goal of trying to, better ourselves and make better lives for ourselves. And that'll actually help them to get to know their classmates more without being judgmental or anything like that, but just let them know that, hey, my life, someone lives a different life outside of myself. And so that's why I'm using that social experiment to basically dictate, or not dictate, I'm sorry, to teach students that socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, all these things play a part in us being different. But at the same time, we can also, if we're educated about knowing what's going on in other people's homes, we can be empathetic and sympathetic, and be more understanding about some things that go on outside of our lives. Thank you.